Happy Friday, 12:01 in the Big E. EST. Tommy and Reed. Hernan Salas in studio. Global HQ. Lovely Friday. Hope you're doing well. Text us 70 about rumors that are stupid. Just going to get that out of the way here really quickly. Stupid rumors. And Hernan's going to be fired up. He's going to have a great show today, but I asked him to stick around for a couple of minutes because I want to get you guys' feedback together. Of course, the Oil Stream presented by Boston Pizza. Shout out to Cody over at BP's Capilano for having us. It was fantastic. Tried the new menu. It was delicious. The sundae with the cactus cuts and the vanilla with maple caramel syrup was interesting, Riedrich, and actually very good.
What was it again?
Okay, so it's cactus cuts, cactus cut potatoes, and then you put a big scoop or two of vanilla ice cream, and then maple caramel drizzle.
Oh, that sounds good.
On top.
Because it'd be sweet and salty, right?
And sprinkled with bacon.
It was a dessert.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd try it. Why not?
My first bite was like, what is happening? My second bite was flavor explosion.
Good. That's awesome, buddy.
It was good. So try it out. Huge shout out to BP's in general, and then BP Capilano. Thank you for having us on Wednesday. All right. So Trent Frederic signs the deal that was expected. 8 years, $3.85 million per. A lot of people were unhappy with his performance in the playoffs. Obviously, the one game in the regular season where he played 7 minutes in LA, got hurt in the first shift. I feel like Hernan's going to tee off on his show. But we did get a message on Twitter. You already answered it. I kind of wanted to pose it to you guys. Came in from Island_Oiler just under an hour ago. Said 97-29 cup window, bottom 6 guy, 8 years, and a 4-year no trade with a 10-team in year 5 and 6. What in the absolute expletive? Management just not learning. Nothing against Frederic. I'm guessing he'll be okay, but man, oh man, that's stupid. Any thoughts, Tom, Dusty, Hernan, Riedrich? Do you want to take it, or let's get Hernan to go?
Well, I responded to him. I these new movements, like, do they not learn from past? Like, sure, you're hoping from Trent Frederic from 2 years ago. Yes, he was a high ankle sprain. Everybody's making excuses for him in this playoff. Sure, fine. He wasn't good. Blame it on the injury. The money's fine, Tom. Sure, you want to go. I just don't know how you go 8 years and then a full no movement for 4 years. Like, why? Why? Like, Janmark, Henrique, like, there's guys on this team that, for me, the only guys that get no movements are your elite, your stars.
That's the way it should be.
That's the way it should be. Like, I just feel like Stan Bowman doesn't even negotiate. Like, I'm sorry. Like, maybe I'm being dramatic. It's just the way I am.
No, I like this.
I don't like it because did he negotiate? Like, I'd be like, I'm giving you an 8-year deal, bro. You're a bottom 6 guy coming off a very poor performance for us in the playoffs. And you want to know movement on top of it? And Tom, sure, it's full for 4 years, but then it's a 10 team for the next 2 and a 20 team for the next 2. Like, I don't know.
What if he walked? What if he walked?
Oh, well.
Really?
We're talking about Trent Frederic here, man. I mean, is he...
What about what you gave up to get him? Because you know we would get those questions.
Sure, but listen, if it's Trent Frederic from Boston, it's going to, sure, the next 2-3 years, he'll probably be fine.
Yeah.
But, like, these no movements, guys, like, they keep, for a team that's so up against the cap and can't move barely anybody on their team, they continue to do this to themselves. Don't they learn? That's all I'm saying. I'm sorry. I hate to be negative because he sounds like a good dude.
He's an awesome dude.
Yeah, this is more on the management than it is for Trent Frederic. Good for him and his agent. Go get him because he's really good. Really good. Look at this deal, Tom. Look at this deal for Trent Frederic. I've said it.
Exactly what I wanted from him.
Well, we've known this was coming.
Yep.
Big picture, and even going back to last week, I'm more surprised at the length of the deal than the fact that it has some no movement in it. I mean, that is a long time to lock up somebody who you would not consider a core piece of the team.
Yeah.
So like, I was surprised last week that it was going to be 8 years. Like, I would have thought 4 would have been like, oh, that's kind of a long deal.
Yes, it is.
For a player of that caliber. And I don't mean to put him down, but I guess a player of that's going to be slotted in as being your 6th to 9th best forward, which is important to have and probably a weakness on the Oilers team this year. I guess I just have to say this. I mean, and people know that I'm kind of like this. There's 2 ways to look at it. There's your emotional and logical reaction to you, the hockey fan.
Correct.
There's the emotional and logical reaction to you, the audience member, as an armchair GM. And then there's reality. And those 2 things might not be in lockstep. So you can be pissed off about Trent Frederic and Victor Arvidsson and Jeff Skinner getting no move clauses. You know what? Go cry in your pillow. Because the reality is players get no movement clauses.
Yep.
So you can complain to me as your buddy talk show host all the time. I'm here for your emotional support. And I'll listen.
I complain to you all the time.
You can complain to me.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I'm going to tell you, suck it up, because that's reality. I can complain as much as I want that when I started collecting comics, they were 65 cents. And now they're $6.50. Well, too bad. That's inflation, and that's how much comics cost now. Austin Matthews, full no move clause. William Nylander, full no move clause. John Tavares, no move clause. Max Domi, 10-team no trade.
That's hot garbage.
David Kampf, 10-team no trade.
That's even worse.
Calle Yarncroc, 10-team no trade.
That's egregious.
Morgan Riley, full no move. Jake McCabe, no trade.
Yeah.
Christopher Tanev, no move.
Good player.
Oliver Ekman-Larsson, 16-team no trade. Brandon Carlo, 8-team no trade. Anthony Stolars, 8-team no trade.
Former Oiler.
That's the team I picked just because they have a new deal with Tavares today.
Yep.
So there is a little over half the Leafs roster. There may be people listening saying, who's David Kampf?
Good point.
Well, I know we have a lot of hardcore.
Valid.
I know a lot of people
Kampf.
know Camp, whatever.
Some days it's Camp, some it's Kampf.
Yeah,
Days
I may
Kampf.
have been quoting a novel that is not published anymore. Part of the title, but
who wrote that one?
anyway, like I'm sorry, everybody. I'm really sorry. Like, this is one of these things where I feel like I need to apologize to people. Like, I'm sorry you're upset, but no move clauses are part of the negotiation. They're part of reality in the National Hockey League. So here's what happens. GMs are saying, okay, here's what I think you're worth financially and how long I'm going to pay you. And from the Oilers' perspective, they're probably thinking, man, oh man, if Trent Frederic's a really good player, by the time he's 30, 31, 32, he's going to be a very low percentage of the cap, because it could be up over $120 million.
Yes.
Okay, so that's what they're thinking. I'm not trying to justify this or convince you that Trent Frederic is a good player, but that's probably what they're thinking.
Yeah.
We need a player of this ilk, and maybe this turns out to be an excellent value in years 3 through 6, for example. Maybe. And then if Trent Frederic says, well, I want some sort of protection, I want to know I'm in Edmonton for at least 4 years, which is what it is, right? Because then after year 4, there's it changes.
It's modified or whatever.
It changes.
Yeah.
So that's why it happens. I'm not telling you to like it, but I'm trying to tell you why it happens.
It doesn't take the sting away.
No, it doesn't.
I hate it.
I understand.
I'll be honest. And Reed read off Toronto's. Go look at Tampa's. They have a lot of no movements.
Yeah.
They have a guy in the minors with a no trade clause.
That's
don't they?
ridiculous.
What-
That is
who
literally
is it again?
stupid.
Is it Sheary? I think it's Sheary.
Connor Sheary. Yeah.
That is dumb.
Like it's true. Like
He
it's,
shouldn't be in the minors.
Yeah.
The fact that if
No,
he has a no movement.
He has a no trade. He has a
Oh,
no
no
trade.
trade,
But
okay.
he's, yeah, I
And it's
think
being
no
reported
trade.
Noah Dobson has some no movements in his deals. Not a full.
We'll get to that too. Obviously.
But what I'm saying, like Reed's right. Like it is what it is. We have to there's nothing we can do about it. But
No.
I just sometimes these GMs can't help themselves. And I get it on Fredericks. I want to be here for 4 years. You know, if he has a family, you want that security that you're not moving your kids to school. I get all of that. But for a team that's looking to improve and add pieces, Tom, it's difficult now. Like, and listen, the good thing is the money's fine. and the cap's going up,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, like Reed said, maybe in 3-4 years, the cap's at 115. We're sitting here saying, who cares? It's $3 million.
Yeah, it's going to be 113 by 27.
Do you know what I mean? But I just, I've even when I was, before I got into this business, when I'm in this business, I don't like no movements. And I've said it since day one. If I was the GM, guys, my team probably wouldn't be very good, but there'd be no movement.
Players are assets. That's what they are. I want to bounce this off of you guys. And thank you for sticking around, Hernan. And I want to hear what you guys think about what I'm going to say. I'm going to start with, I don't like 8 years. I don't like the no movement. Outside of like my initial reaction, my gut instinct, all that being like, that's garbage. The AAV, whatever, it's fine. Right? Like he thought he was going to get, or he believed he was going to get $4 million per. Sure, whatever. And it will be a small percentage of the cap eventually. And it already is. The NMCs now, guys, the way I look at them, I just look at it now as for the player.
Yeah.
It's a guarantee they're staying in the National Hockey League.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 100%.
When COVID hit and the cap got frozen, who got squeezed out? Which players got squeezed out? The middle guys.
Yeah.
I think that is this situation, and the NMCs are a product of what happened in COVID and guys trying to ensure they're staying in the National Hockey League. And that's all I look at it is. I don't think, listen, man, we can't predict what's going to happen 8 years from now. Do I think Trent Frederic will be an Oiler in 8 years? No, I don't.
Probably not, yeah.
Because we have seen no movement clauses, modified no movement clauses, moved on from.
Yeah.
We saw it a day ago.
Yeah.
So to me, once you get past that initial sticker shock or whatever, it's essentially the player being able to stick in the National Hockey League and have that guarantee that he ain't going anywhere. And then if he's not good enough anymore, he's still getting paid.
That's a great point. I never thought about the whole COVID thing because you're seeing a lot more now, and for those mid-tier guys, right?
Exactly.
Like Reed brought up Sheary. Nick Paul has one. Like I think we went through Tampa Bay the other day, or Reed did, and a lot of guys, mid-tier guys, have them, right?
So out of the league.
That's a good point. Another point, because we were discussing this off air. You can buy out a no movement contract.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm not saying they're buying out Trent Frederic. We were just kind of spitballing,
right.
Like, what can you do if this doesn't work out? And you can buy it out.
Yeah.
So
and I don't think it's as immovable as we assume it is.
No.
And we've seen it firsthand in this market 48 hours ago. You can move on from them. You can negotiate with the player, say, listen, man, we got to get rid of you. Thank you for your service.
yeah.
We need to modify your no trade, or what would it take to waive it?
Yeah.
It's a negotiation.
Yeah.
But you get the guarantee if you're the player, you're in the National Hockey League, you get your money, you got your bag.
Yeah.
And I think that reassurance is becoming more prominent.
And here's
in my opinion.
And here's another thing, and credit to some people in the nasty chat for pointing this out, and I just double checked the exact verbiage of it. You can't get a no movement clause in the NHL until you're a UFA. Only players that are 27 or older or who have accrued 7 seasons are eligible for no trade or no movement clauses.
Gotcha.
So this is another. So I'm just asking people to think about how this environment works in the National Hockey League.
Mm-hmm.
Being an NHL player, being a part of the NHL Players Association, having agents reminding you, hey, you've earned this, right?
Yep.
So the agents are I would guess, telling these players, okay, you've earned this. You're this age, or you've played in the NHL this long. You've earned this. You deserve some sort of trade protection or no movement protection. Again, I get it that to most people listening who don't make $4 million a year to be the 15th best employee at their job, I get it. I get
like
it.
to have that situation.
It's different. But you know,
That's me, Reed. I'm at the bottom.
You're only getting 2.8 though.
Yeah.
But this is the environment, and they're under, I guess, pressure, for lack of a better term, to be part of that brotherhood of the union. This is where you slot in. This is what you can get. This isn't what just you can get. This is what you should get.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what they're hearing from their agents and probably even other players. Hey, dude, I got this. Hey, you don't want to get that. You don't want to sign and be traded in January if you're not playing well.
Reed, I'd give you a no movement.
Well, thank you, Hernan.
He has one.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, he did. Dusty confirmed it. Yeah. He's the only one here that has a no movement clause.
Sick deal.
It's an 8-year deal, too.
Good.
Yeah.
We locked him up.
Love you guys.
Okay, that was good.
Thanks for sticking around.
You're all like fired up for EST afternoons. Thank you, Hernan Salas. We're inside the Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen Studios. Check out their. I love the new value meal or menu. You like the mini chicken wrap and the mini chicken sandwich. Apparently, the blackened cauliflower is delicious.
Oh, I love that.
5-piece nugs,
I love
great.
the blackened
Fried
cauliflower.
pickles or frickles, as they like to call them in some places. Delicious. All for $4. These are perfect snackable items that can round out your favorite Popeyes meal. And here, I'm liking how we're attacking this from different angles because they're like the outrage, whatever you want to call it, reaction. At the end of the day, Reed, the Edmonton Oilers locked up a good hockey player. Someone who's important to them going forward and trying to be a part of winning a Stanley Cup. On top of that, he's well-liked, well-respected inside the locker room. Good guy. I remember friends that worked for the Bruins were like, this guy is amazing. You're going to love him. Phenomenal. And then you get him at 3.85, just under $4 million. Yes, it's 8 years. Yes, there's no movement. But the bottom line is you got a good player, and he's an Oiler. He's an asset for you until he isn't.
Yeah, I do think he's a good player.
Yeah.
I do hope he's on the third line, and I hope he's not, well, let's put him with Leon and see if we can get him going that way.
He probably ends up playing with Leon at some point because we know the lines get shuffled all the time. But you're right. Like if you're looking at long-term solution, no.
I hope big picture he's mostly a third liner, and I hope he's a center. And I do think he wasn't healthy in the playoffs.
No, he wasn't.
I mean, he said today he wasn't happy with his postseason.
Right.
I mean, one goal, though, was an important goal. I mean, he's going to have to score around 20 goals.
If he gets you 15 are you going to be okay?
to 20. Yes.
Yeah.
I think if he gets 15 plus and checks and can hit and is a good all-around player, then I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
But again, I hope he's on the third line. I hope there are other solutions, whether it's Savoy or whoever, to fill out the top six.
Thank you for not saying Tomasek.
This continues to be a problem with the team.
Correct.
That they don't have a true second line. I mean, most of this year they didn't.
Yep.
Even, like, I know the Holloway, Fogle, McLeod stuff still comes up.
Stop.
Okay.
Yes, but stop.
Sometimes they had a second line last year in the playoffs, but even then there was a lot of cycling through and Perry playing in that spot and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope this isn't, well, okay, Frederic plays on Leon's wing, and then now they don't have a third line center because I think Henrique is slowly watching that ship sail away from being in that spot.
Since you ventured there, might I suggest Frederic ends up playing center because he
that's what I want.
Yeah. And Henrique, who had to adjust to life as a centerman with the responsibility, goes back to wing.
That'd be fine by me.
Useful.
That'd be fine by me.
Yeah. I just think that could be a possibility, an in-house solution. Potentially. Will it work? I don't know. I would be willing to try it.
Well, I mean, we're going to learn a lot about the roster over the next week or so.
Mm-hmm.
But I would hope next Friday, when we've had free agency and we're penciling in the roster, we're projecting the roster, I would hope Frederic is the third line center.
Great.
I would hope.
I'm with you. Lockstep.
Well, thanks, Tom.
As they say. Share your thoughts, 780-218-9999. Get to the nasty chat. We're feisty on this Friday here on the Oil Stream, presented by Boston Pizza. Tom Gazzola, Reed Wilkins with you. What are your thoughts on this deal? Troll says there's only 2 guys in Edmonton that should get a no movement, no trade clause. Everyone else go sign somewhere else. I understand the principle, and I understand the displeasure. I'm with you. But at the same time, that is not the reality that we're in when it comes to the National Hockey League. To make sure you lock up guys, get them on your roster who you want, this is a sacrifice GMs and teams have to make. It's stupid. I agree. But they have to. And Stan Bowman and Jeff Jackson aren't the only guys giving out these no movement clauses. Reed went through the Toronto Maple Leafs. There's guys that are no names, essentially, for a lack of a better term, that have no movement clauses.
Right. And again, it's something that older players want.
Yes. And they get. And to me, thinking about it for the last week since we knew that this deal was probably happening, which it has, it's like, well, what is happening? What is this? And I feel like for the player, a guarantee they A, get paid for a long time, and B, stay in the NHL as long as possible. And you go, well, why the hell would, why would a guy want to play till he's 40? Probably he doesn't want to play until he's 40 if his body's killing him. And I go back to what happened with the last 5 years during the COVID time where middle of the road NHLers got squeezed out of the league. And they lost out on big money in their careers. And I think other guys saw that, recognized it. Agents certainly recognized it. Mm-hmm. And now we're seeing how they're reacting to what happened over the last 5 years.
Well,
that's my take on it.
That's a whole other interesting discussion on top of this, because the salary cap going up, I believe, will still help the high-end players the most.
Of course. And that's what happens.
The league minimum might go up a little bit, but that you're not, like, fourth liners aren't going to start making $5 million because the cap's going up. Like, they're still going to make the league minimum, or
make
just above
or whatever, 850.
Yeah, I don't know what it'll go up to, but yeah.
It's interesting. And like, listen, I hope those listening and watching, maybe the seeds planted in their heads that you're really not guaranteeing him being here for 8 years. Like, the NMC, as we've seen this week, doesn't mean you're locked to a guy for that long. You've committed, but you can negotiate his exit.
Well, and again, even the ones I read off the Leafs and some of the ones off the Oilers, some of them are partial.
Yeah.
Some of them are,
and this one becomes a partial with
right. So you can trade players.
Yeah.
Whether it's, I just looked at Montreal's. Like, it's funny. Brendan Gallagher, for example, for this season, has a 6-team no trade list. So the Canadians can still trade him to 25 other teams.
Yeah.
So, there's like Josh Anderson, a 5-team no trade. So he plays for Montreal.
How about that contract?
They would go to him and they would say, list the 5 teams that you refuse to play for. So there are still options. Even nurses in a couple of years changes. Right. So that's another thing. When you look at the no trade, go to Puckpedia and see how it actually works for the course of the deal. But again, I understand the objection to them.
Absolutely.
I understand, like, what you were saying, really only Leon and Connors and Ovechkin and Crosby and Matthews and McKinnon and Makar and players of those.
The NBA has 2 no trade clauses.
Really?
LeBron and another guy that I can't even remember his name.
Probably Wilt Chamberlain.
Definitely Wilt Chamberlain, I should say. But, like, Hernan popping off, I kind of just wanted to hear him get mad. And I feel like we're going to see more of that at 1 o'clock when EST Afternoons gets going with him and Gager. I understand the frustration, but in reality, you're not actually stuck with the guy for that long.
Correct.
So I just, and Reed, honestly, I hope that Oiler fans don't hold it against Trent Frederic for signing this contract and they start pooping on him during the season if he's having a tough stretch of games and go, well, shouldn't have given him 8-year no move, huh? Stupid. Like if I'm reading that in December after a loss to Minnesota, I'm like, that's a dumb text. I'm sure it would be hypothetically somebody venting, obviously, but that's a stupid text.
Which one?
If someone were to say, good thing we gave Frederic a 8-year no move. It's a hypothetical.
Well, yeah, I mean,
we see.
And
those
again,
things.
I would never fault the employee for getting as much from his employer as he can.
He's getting a guarantee.
And I was talking about this on my show the other afternoon, a couple days ago. The bottom line is the NHLPA is quite a powerful union, so to speak. I mean, the NFL isn't. I think baseball's become pretty strong over the years, and the NHLPA is a fairly powerful union. I mean, remember when this negotiation was going on, Bill Daley had that quote, 5-year maximum contracts. That is a hill we will die on. Remember he actually said that?
Yeah.
And then the deal comes out, it's 8-year max or 7 if you're changing teams. Now that is going to change to 7 and 6. And yeah, I guess some of the, the front-loaded contracts, like wasn't it the Kovalchuk deal where he made like $14 million
that one actually was a violation of the CBA. Remember the Devils were penalized for it?
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's I'm not telling people not to have a reaction to it or saying they don't like the system, but I do think there's at some point you have to accept that is the system.
Yeah.
And yes, I'm sure many beer leaguers out there are saying, I'd love to make $5 million to play 8 minutes a night.
Me too.
Yes, that's fair. But the
I'd
bottom
get my
line
ass
is
kicked for that money.
That's the environment that they work in.
Yeah. At the end of the day, bottom line, they locked up a guy they wanted that they paid a decent amount for at the deadline that fans were clamoring for quite a bit. They got him. He was hurt. No, he did not play great. He admitted that. But you got him locked up. And by all accounts, and from what I've experienced with them, probably you too, really good guy.
Well, I very limited dealings with him for me.
Same, but everybody speaks very highly of him. Anyway, they signed him 8 years, $3.85 million. There is a no movement clause. It does change after a few years. Your reaction, 780-218-9999. Get to the nasty chat as well.
Give us a thumbs up on YouTube.
Please, and thank you.
Click the like button.
Do the voice.
I don't have it
I'm
playing.
just teasing you.
I don't have it hooked
That's
up
okay.
to the board.
I'm getting you riled.
Click. Which
Must
one?
you click?
Yeah, that one.
That's a good one. Mike outside of Edmonton says, ha, Oiler fans will totally not hold it against him. Signed Sean Horkoff.
I don't think that's an interesting one. I don't think Frederic is going to be treated like Horkoff and to some extent Nurse because he's not one of the highest paid players on the team. Was Horkoff the highest paid player when he signed that?
Was it that
would have been a huge
7-year, 4 per?
I thought it was 6 per. I can't
6
remember.
per?
But at the time, it was a lot.
It was coming out of the lockout. It was after the Oilers went to the Cup final. They signed everybody that they could that wouldn't want to leave.
Right.
They overpaid for Rafi Torres. They overpaid for Fernando Pizzani. Great guy, by the way.
Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah. Poop stains. Terrible handle.
Is that his handle?
Yeah.
Wow.
Texan says, for instance, nurses long-term deals and no movement clauses should only be for the elite stars. For instance, Nurse is tired of the Edmonton fans and media. There's only one answer for that. He should ask for a trade. Poop stains.
Well, he could, I guess.
He could, but I'll tell you this. All the rumors are stupid today, and they're annoying, and I've had to text more people than I wanted to about it or needed to.
But again, here's another thing, because I also think about how is this perceived in the industry, and in this term, I know this might sound like an unusual way to talk about it, but by this term of the industry, it's the industry of hockey.
Okay.
So let's use that text as a jumping off point
from
for this.
Poop stains.
So a player signs a long-term contract and gets a full no-move clause for 5 of the 8 years. Okay?
Yeah.
Let's say, I won't use Nurse's name example because I don't want people tuning in and thinking. So Booger McBoogerton, okay?
That's
one of
a
my
beautiful
all-time
name
favorite
too.
players. Booger McBoogerton
Related to Poop stains?
signs an 8-year $80 million contract.
Okay.
And gets a full no move clause for the first 5 years. Okay. And he's playing for the Alder Flats Aces. Okay.
Good team.
And 3 years into the deal, Alder Flats is in last place. He's not being used by his coach the way he thought he would be used. He hates living in Alder Flats because the post office isn't very nice when he picks up his parcels. And he's like, okay, well, the team doesn't really like me.
Yeah.
I don't really like being here. I'm going to tell my agent, go to this team and ask to be traded. Just say, I'll waive my no move. Trade me to Wildwood.
Yeah.
Trade me to San Gudo.
Yeah.
Trade me to Killam. I don't care.
All right. Killam's good.
So the way I would think of this, though, is that in that industry, in that peer group of agents and other professional hockey players, Booger McBoogerton would not be looked on positively for making that request. I would think his peers and his agents behind the scenes or when they're out golfing or having a pint in the summer would be like, dude, we signed these no move clauses for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
You signed one. Don't go asking for a trade because that devalues our no movement clauses. It makes management think that we're not serious about these.
Fair.
Because, maybe Billy Whack-A-Mole wants to spend the rest of his career in Fox Creek. And he's like, dude, I don't want Fox Creek coming to me and asking me to waive my no move because you went and did it in Alder Flats. Don't be an idiot. We got to stick together here.
Okay. I think that has already flown. That principle has already gone.
Right.
Because guys have waived their no moves.
Right. But I think that those are more specific circumstances than just generally saying trade me anywhere.
Yes, I get it. You're right.
So I believe there'd be pressure within the NHLPA to not make a habit of that, or to not players saying, whatever, I don't want to wait till year 6. I want out now.
Yeah.
Because I think that would devalue then no movement clauses.
Correct.
And I think the players and agents want them to have value. I realize there are some circumstances they've been waived.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that those would be very specific. So I think in the Nurse thing, why would Nurse do that?
He wouldn't.
You're right. And then why would the team go to a player and ask? And don't forget, Canes was not a full one.
It was modified as of March.
So even if Vancouver, because didn't somebody say, well, Vancouver wasn't one of the teams he could go to?
Yeah, he changed his mind.
And then
apparently.
they could say, well, look, Vander, the 16 teams you listed, we could do this, but would you actually go here? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just.
It
thinking.
is interesting, and you're right. To me, the no movement clause now, because they're throwing her out like candy on Halloween, is basically just making sure the guy gets paid for the length of his contract and stays, for the most part, in the National Hockey League.
Right.
And they earn that right when they get to their UFA years.
Yeah.
And if a team's willing to give it, good on them. Congratulations, you did it. At the end of the day, the Oilers signed up a good player for 8 years. If he stays here for 8, fantastic, and is productive, that's great. If he doesn't, I wouldn't be surprised. But they got him. He's a player they need. He's a top 9. Let's see what he can do when he's healthy. Troll texting in says, I know what you're saying, Tom. I just wish, quote, do you want to play with McDavid and Draisaitl? Do you want a chance to win the cup? Unquote, was good enough. I don't know who needs to hear this. I don't know if this is a surprise to anybody, but this was told to me when I was still working for the team. It was 8 years ago now, 7 years ago. The allure of playing with Connor and Leon is not as sexy to NHL players as fans think. Yes, it's enticing for some, but not all. It doesn't knock down your value, make you take a discount. So that principle, when I hear about people saying like you should want to play with Connor and Leon, yeah, you should. But these guys don't think like that.
Right.
They don't think like that. They don't care. Some guys are motivated by winning. There are guys in the National Hockey League that do not give a crap if they even make the playoffs every year. They want to make their bag. They want to go party in the summer, and then they'll come back in the fall for training camp. There are guys who are like that. The Stanley Cup isn't the be-all, end-all for every player in the NHL. So, like Troll, I agree with you. In principle, that too is sound. It's rational. But it is not the case.
Let's face it. I mean, if we really want to go down the in principle part of this, or the hypothetical train, at the risk of irritating people with this discussion,
I'm enjoying this discussion.
Players should not be paid until the end of the season. Right? There should just be a pay scale in the NHL says this many points gets this much money.
Right.
This many points gets this much money. This goals against average plus this many wins plus this save percentage gets this much money.
Could you imagine?
And then, I mean, there is playoff bonus money, but that should also be factored into it.
Mm-hmm.
You won the Stanley Cup. You had 91 points. You were -8. Oh, that's going to take a little bit of money off. Where's our chart? Okay, you're $5.7 million. You'll get your money July 1st.
That'd be amazing.
I think that's how most fans would like it in a perfect world.
Sure. That'd be crazy.
Hey, my team's payroll was $140 million because we won the Stanley Cup and had 5 guys with 90 plus points in the regular season.
I think owners would happily
that
pay
really
that.
would be but get paid by your performance, like directly, not
that'd be amazing.
Like directly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't work that way.
Bones says Irma should be a destination for Booker.
Yeah, well, Irma's in that league. Yeah.
Oh, man, that's funny. All right, this is the Oil Stream. Gazzola and Wilkins with you. Dusty's off calling CFL action. Was great yesterday on the call in Winnipeg yesterday. As always, you can text us 780-218-9999. Get to the nasty chat as well. Noah Dobson getting traded. People are now asking about Bouchard. You didn't catch it, Dobson to the Habs.
Good move for the Habs, I think.
Their defense.
They're going to have to trade somebody, though, right?
I would think so. Their
They're
defense
over the cap
is quite
by,
dynamic.
I think, 3.5 about.
You heard, like, you mentioned Josh Anderson. That was a name that was out there. He's a $5.5 million guy. I don't think they'd get rid of Gallagher. Dobson's deal, by the way, with the Habs, 8 years, $9.5 mil AAV.
So his
people correlating that to
free
Bouchard.
agent, so his rights were traded, and then the Canadians signed him to a new deal because now they can sign him for 8 years.
Correct.
Right? Yeah, good for him. So Bouchard's probably going to get 10 or 10.5.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll hit 11. We'll see.
He can ask for 11. He probably did, and it'll land somewhere in the 10s.
Probably.
Yeah.
Now, Dobson is coming off, for him,
39 points.
Crazy last couple of years for him.
Mm-hmm.
2 years, so 23-24. 10 goals, 60 assists plus 12. This past year, 10 goals, only 29 assists, minus 16.
Ooh.
And the Islanders, they're picking first today, aren't they? So
They
how little
are.
I pay attention to the draft now. Used to be all we would
used
study.
Yeah.
So, kind of a bit of a drop-off year. He had 51 and 49 points 3 and 4 years ago, respectively. But so now the Canadians have, so look at the blue line now. They have Hudson.
Yep.
So that's going to be their top 4 in whatever combination. Hudson, Dobson, Gooley, and Matheson still under contract for a year.
Yeah. Matheson's good. That's good.
Yeah, good. Like they
Good,
made the
young.
playoffs this year. So
Gooley, great defenseman.
yeah,
I think he's going to have a long career. That's a good pickup for the Habs.
yeah, very good.
Does Hudson's defensive game get better? Probably.
Oh, probably.
I
I
would
mean, he's
think
only
so.
21, isn't he?
Yeah.
And didn't he won the Calder Trophy, right?
Yeah.
Over the goalie, Wolf.
Wolf and
Who was the other finalist?
Was it Mitch?
Celebrini, of course.
Celebrini.
Yeah.
Celebrini was really
I
good.
can't remember how the voting went. Well, I think that's a good deal for the Habs.
Same. You want to chime in here, Zach? Oh, okay.
But they'll have to get rid of somebody.
Sure. How about that team being in a cap crunch?
Yeah, that's interesting, eh?
Right? They still have Price on the books,
I
too,
mean, they
I
wouldn't
think.
move Kirby Doc again, would they?
I would.
He's actually makes almost exactly what they're over the cap.
That's a guy I'd move on from.
Really?
Yeah, can't stay healthy.
Because he makes 3.36 and they are 3.39 over the cap, according to Puckpedia. Josh Anderson, I mean, you'd have to sweeten that deal to give him away without retaining, right? I would think.
Yep.
I don't know if they'd move Gallagher.
I think
he's got a partial. He's kind of a pillar there, I guess.
I think so.
And then the defenseman I listed, they're not going to trade any of those defensemen.
Yeah.
So, I like that deal for the Canadiens. They're still paying. Oh no, Carey Price is on IR. He still has 1 year left on his deal. He hasn't because he's never formally retired.
No, because that's how you get paid.
10.5.
Yeah.
Not to.
Mark Savard got the full length of his contract. He was on the IR for the Bruins till he was done. His contract.
Clefbaum here.
Yeah.
Ferentz for a year, I think.
Mike Smith.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Why not?
You get paid. You're not.
But again, that goes back to my point. Like, how powerful is the PA? That like an injured player, and let's face it, in some cases, injured. Well, no,
What are you insinuating? What are you insinuating?
I'm just saying there are some players that if they really push to come back and play, they probably could have. You know?
Yep. I think Ferentz was one of those guys.
I mean, maybe even Clefbaum. Like I know he was honest about his pain issues and stuff. And I'm not saying this to slam them or anything, but sometimes players reach a choice. Okay, is it worth me playing? I could probably play, but what might I do to my body? And I'm technically injured, so I can just stay injured for a couple of years, be on LTIR, and get the money.
Yep. Really quickly, just to rehash Oscar's shoulder surgery. The shoulder replacement he got, someone told me within the organization that if he had gotten the metal replacement as opposed to the synthetic or the plastic or whatever it was, he could have played. But he chose to go with the softer compound.
Okay, I don't know.
I was blown. I'm like, what? What happened? What did they do to his shoulder? But yeah, that's how it was explained to me.
Okay. Yeah, I would. That's amazing what they could do.
I know. We could be cyborgs by the time we're 50.
Well, I would.
60.
Well, I already am, Tom. I already am that age. I'm not already a cyborg. I'm already over 50. But thank you for getting that about me.
When you're 60. That'd be cool. Hampton Steve said there were rumors the other day online of Arvidsson for Doc. Would that be something you think the Oilers should consider given Doc's injury history? I wouldn't. I'd just stay away from him. That's me personally.
And that wouldn't save the Canadians any money, I guess, though. I mean, who knows what they're going to do.
It would add to the cap.
In combination, but
$4 million.
You wouldn't take a chance on Kirby Doc?
No.
Why not?
Always hurt.
Has he been hurt every year? Wasn't there the one year he got hurt in like the third game of the season?
Yep. It was a bad injury. I think he tore his knee.
23-24, he played 2 games and had 2 assists.
Yeah.
Last year he played 57 games, had 22 points, minus 29. Did not play, so he didn't play in the playoffs, so he was hurt for the playoffs.
Yeah. I
can't remember what the injury was last year.
I wouldn't even take a chance. I think you're not in the position to take a chance anymore. You're not in a desperation mode. No. The answer I would give you is just straight up no.
Okay.
Let somebody else deal with that. That's what I would say. Jace texting in says, I know we're doomers, but about best possible scenario. Let's say Frederic plays like Boston, has 20-ish goals the next 4 years, and is physical. Are you not looking back and saying, wow, 3.85 mil is a steal, and who cares about the NMC? Yeah. That's fair. Jace also adds, Tom, tell Stan to bring Klim back. I wouldn't either. What do you make of when people say bring back Costin?
That wouldn't be a priority for me. I think his personality made him very popular with the fans, which is fine.
He was great.
And he did have that mid-season burst. Didn't he score 7 goals in 11 games or 6 in 12 or something like that?
Couple big playoff
I can't
goals.
remember. He scored twice in the game that clinched it against LA in game 6 in 23 or 20.
23.
23.
Yeah, because then he wanted the bigger ticket. and he got it from
Right.
Detroit.
I mean, he was an inconsistent player.
Yep.
Like, and then I know when the next season started, when Woodcroft got fired, I remember like Rob and I getting a lot of calls like, well, they miss Costin, and Rob and I were like, well, I think they missed like Bukestad more than Costin of the players they missed.
Yep.
He was an inconsistent player.
Yep.
And
Bad
if you look at how
defensively.
he's been used in the teams he's been on, he hasn't always played a lot, and he's been scratched as well. So, I mean, if you're
In
bringing
San
a player
Jose,
like
Reed.
that back, that is your 14th forward, quite frankly.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. Maybe it'll happen, but I don't know. If
I don't
that would
think
be a priority for me.
I wouldn't even entertain it. I'd be like, no, thanks. We're good. We'll move on. All right.
So the draft's today.
It is.
How many drafts did you go to?
I think I did 6 or 7 drafts. How many did you do?
I did 6. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18,
I
19.
did Minnesota, Pittsburgh, New Jersey, Philadelphia, Florida, Chicago,
Buffalo was after
Buffalo.
Florida.
So 7.
You didn't go to Dallas and Vancouver.
I did
that
not.
I went to.
No,
Yeah.
I did not.
It's a very I don't want to say I'm a bad traveler, but when it's this is just me talking, and I realize I was very lucky to go to these drafts and be there when McDavid got drafted and all that kind of stuff. But you go to these strange cities, and then you always have to be at a certain place at a certain time.
Yep.
And there's always that, what if I don't exactly know how to get there? Or I'm waiting for the shuttle at a block away. I always had those doom thoughts in my mind.
Yeah.
Like, because, you get these emails from the NHL, and it's like, okay, the media hotel is here. And there were a couple of years I couldn't stay in the media hotel because they fill up so quickly.
Yeah.
And I know with Ched, like, you always have to get approval, and it's like, okay, or somebody else books it, which is nice. You have somebody within Chorus booking it for you, but if they give you the approval to go 2 weeks after the hotel was available to book, like, you're not getting in that hotel.
Right.
So, and then I was always one of those people too, okay, the media hotel will leave from the south side of the building by the large palm tree. Okay. So you try to scout it out ahead of time. It's like, well, that palm tree is pretty big. Is that the large one? And then it's like,
They usually put the signs out.
I know, and there's
The league's
but it's
very
like
good
a
at
block
that.
long, and I would always be
Yeah.
afraid of being in the wrong place. Now, having said that, I don't think I ever missed anything or was late for anything. In Buffalo, I didn't stay near the arena.
Oh, that would suck.
But Buffalo was quite easy to get around.
Yes, it's small.
So the hotel had this shuttle that was actually really cheap, and turned out it was only 10 minutes away.
Yeah.
But other cities, like Chicago's big, and we didn't stay anywhere near the arena. Like, the arena's now
arena's a
downtown.
bad part of town.
Yeah,
It's a
and
bad part of town.
but I think I can't remember. I think I was in a vehicle with Stoff and a couple other people. The Oilers TV people. Were you there in Chicago?
I was there.
Didn't we take a vehicle together?
I don't remember. Probably.
I don't remember, but going out to Chicago, the arena was not anywhere. I think in Dallas I could walk to the arena.
Mm-hmm.
It was very muggy.
I love Dallas.
Sunrise, you're not walking to the arena.
30 minutes, everything is 30 minutes.
Yeah.
A drive to this, to that. I have a story about the Florida one.
Oh, nice.
So McDavid's getting drafted. We had a fun night at the Elbow Room. My boss, Mark Ciampa, goes, we're leaving. We had rented a vehicle for Oilers TV. We had a van because everything was so far away. We had to lug Bob and Jack with us because they didn't want to pay for their rides. And they're like, we're leaving at 8:30. I was late. 8:31, I come downstairs. They left. I'm like waving at them. I'm like, I'm right here. They left. I hop in a cab, and we had to go to the St. Regis at Miami Beach where the Oilers were for a pre-draft availability with Peter.
Yeah.
And I hop in a cab, and I'm like, get me to the St. Regis, blah, blah, blah. So, as quick as you can. Pay the guy, get the receipt, because I'm obviously expensing it. I get there 15 minutes before the Oilers TV crew. And I'm just sitting there like this. You guys left me, and I beat you here. I went up to Ciampa, good friend of mine, and I'm like, Mark, I am sorry I'm late. Or I'm sorry I missed the bus or the vehicle. I apologize for that. But I beat you guys here, and I've been waiting for you guys for 15 minutes. this is the last we ever talk about it. And you know what he did?
What?
He goes, yep.
That's funny.
Yep. Because they like the availabilities were starting, and I'm just sitting there, no mic, no camera, no colleagues. I'm like, oh, good job, guys. And I remember going to Chomps. I'm like, I'm sorry I missed the ride, but I beat you guys here. And this is the last we ever talk about. And he's just like, yep.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, Vancouver that's the last one I covered, was in 2019. The hotel was right there. Like it was probably a 2-block walk, because I think you had to walk around part of BC Place and then go into this entrance into the hockey rink. I seem to remember Dallas not being very, very far away. One of my memories of Dallas is after it was over, I went to the book depository.
Great museum.
Yeah. And
Great museum.
It was super hot. Like
Yeah.
I had like sweat stains on my shirt. Like
Yeah.
it was so muggy, and you were not used to that. But that was neat to see a little bit of Dallas. Buffalo, I remember I stayed near kind of their White Ave, I think.
Chippewa.
Allen Ave, is that what it was?
Allen Ave?
Or
Yeah.
maybe there's another part of town, but it was kind of like this little, I went to this bar called the Old Pink, which would kind of be like the Black Dog, if you've been to the Black Dog on White.
Right.
And there was a poutine place that I had poutine at. But like the drafts are fun, and definitely like we would go out and find places to go, but they're also really structured too. Like you got to be careful. At least I found it's like, okay, you gotta be up at a certain time.
Yes.
You can't be late. And you know, if you're
miss your ride.
if you're doing draft shows, like you know, Ched did, then it's
Dusty,
like you got to make sure you're there.
In Chicago, Dusty woke up like an hour late for the morning show. I think you were out that night, weren't you? Were you with us in Chicago?
I remember one night, being out.
Yeah, we had a big one. It was a good.
I probably didn't.
Big night.
Just drinking water.
Oh. We do Over Under, brought to you by Play Alberta.
Oh, sure.
We have a couple minutes left. Play Alberta, presenting sponsor of EST. Great partnership. Thank you to Play Alberta. Fantastic. Maintain your game sense, obviously. Also, make your bets count for you and everyone else with the Play Alberta app, with hundreds of player prop bets on the biggest leagues: NFL, CFL, NHL, NBA, MLB, you name it. You're not just playing for fun. You're supporting your province. Play Alberta revenue helps fund Alberta programs and services. Deposit today with promo code YEG50 and get an EST exclusive $50 free bet to get started. Over under, Trent Frederic is an Oiler for 5.5 years.
Oh, so I got to commit to something
Yeah.
that...
This is a hypothetical.
Over.
You think he's here till he's like 30,
Yes.
34?
I think he's here into the final 2 years of the contract.
And then he goes to St. Louis?
I have no idea where he's going to go. How do we
He
know
goes
St.
St.
Louis will have a team then? Saskatoon Blues, anybody?
That's why you're the best. That is why you're the best. I'll go under. I think a good 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully we remember making this prediction, everybody.
Yeah, please
Somebody
do.
write it down.
Surveyor Brett will. Guaranteed. He's going to quote tweet it. It'll be in the annals of history forever. Hey, this was fun.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Tom.
Thanks for being a part of the show. What's coming up on your show today?
You're on my show.
I am.
We will have, I think Dusty's going to check in from Regina as well. That'll be fun.
Ah, yes.
Craig Stiles is going to be on.
Okay.
One of the guys who've been running the Brick Invitational Hockey Tournament. Of course, there's a lot of NHL to talk about today. Oilers news. We'll talk some Elks and CFL. But the Brick Invitational starts on Monday at West Edmonton Mall at the Ice Palace. And I've always enjoyed covering and talking about that tournament. So Craig Stiles is going to be on. I think it's an important local pillar that we should discuss.
Avery sent me a photo of Sean Bell on the Brick team.
At the news conference today?
Was Belsy there?
I think today was the news conference.
Oh,
I mean, obviously, I wasn't able to go. I did go sometimes when I would work at Ched. I interviewed 1 year. Who's the former Flame whose kid is really good? And he played
Plays
in
in Everett. What the heck's his name?
I can't believe I forgot his name, but he was in the Brick tournament a few years ago.
Yeah. Oh God, DuPont.
Yes,
Landon DuPont.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mickey DuPont's his dad.
Right. So several years ago, probably 2018 or 2019. When would have he been 10? Maybe even longer ago than that.
Yeah.
He was on Team Brick Alberta. So anyway, we'll see what's going on with that. But we'll be
Awesome.
having some fun. It's Friday. It'll be me and the Coob, a couple of my buddies, Brick Invitational. I'll talk about the Elks. I'll talk about the Oilers.
I'm excited about this.
We'll have some audio from Trent Frederic. And I guess the CBA stuff's been finalized.
That's good.
So I want to see if I can get any tape on that as well. Yeah.
So some good things happening today. Busy Friday. Reed will have that with no Jay Milne, just you and Coob.
Yeah, no Jay for a week.
Jay's off for a week.
Sorry, everybody. You're stuck with just me.
Before I go to Coob really quickly, Loomis says, Thomas, what are you hearing about behind the bench? Only my mom calls me Thomas. It sounds like Gully is probably getting the Dallas job, and that's a big hit for McDavid and Draisaitl, who love him. He's a great guy.
Okay.
Coob, what do you got coming on EST Afternoons?
Oh, man, there's tons of stuff to talk about here with Joaquin and Hernan. We got Stefan Rosner from NHL.com who talks all things Islanders, so he'll break down the no adoption trade as well. We will talk Trent Frederic signing with the Oilers. Hernan was pretty fired up earlier on the oil stream.
I like to poke the
tune
bear
in for
every
that.
now and then. Yeah.
He's going to be a spicy boy, I believe, with all the no movement clause and stuff.
sir.
So Gager and Hernan will have tons to talk about with that. Zach to the future at 1:40. They'll test me with some 80s and 90s trivia to take
I love it.
a bit of a break from sports, but yeah, lots of Frederic and Dobson discussion.
Hey, really quickly, if you like phone a friend or whatever you do, can you not always use Reed?
He's no offense to anybody else in this office, but Reed is the smartest man
He's
here.
quite wise.
It's quite wise.
I don't know all the Back to the
That's a
Future
lie.
stuff, though.
That's a lie.
No, most of the video game sound effects I don't know.
Well, we'll test that theory, won't we?
Yes, we will.
All right,
We will.
that's coming up next on EST Afternoons. Reed, good job today. Appreciate it. I'll be on your show in a little bit. For Coob, for Reed, I'm Tom, and Hernan, actually, saying enjoy your weekend. Talk to you later. Thank you so much for listening and watching. We will see you in a bit.